Greetings and salutations. Let's have some fun, shall we? The theme of this particular video is 3 love interests that go awry at approximately the same time. Happy New Year, by the way, January 1st, 2024. So 1 year ago today, as I wake up from sleep on January 1st, 2023, after a fabulous New Year's Eve dance party 2022. Okay, so I wake up after dancing all night with this one particular woman who I just met at the party the night prior, New Year's Eve. We're, running fingers through each other's hair. We're not drunk or anything like that. We totally know what we're doing. There's equal reciprocation on both sides. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Instead of guessing and wondering, gee, I like this person, but I don't want to come on too strong and this and that, sort of playing it cool. No, this one was, we were both completely unreserved into each other, dancing and light kissing. God knows I wanted there to be more, but I was going with the flow. And there wasn't anything regrettable that happened whatsoever, or something that could be perceived the following day as like, oh my God, what did I do? No, nothing like that. It was completely so freaking awesome. And so I wake up the following morning like, oh, this is nice. I just met a new woman last night and I'm really excited to get to know her and go out on an actual date, because that was my plan. It's like, after that experience, I got to contact her later today and be like, let's go out on a real date. We need to go out on a date. And for sure she's going to say yes, because we were just so energetically in sync the night before. So just as I'm waking up, having those thoughts run across my brain, I'm like, oh, my text messenger just went off. Let's grab it, read it. From the girl, it says, Tom, thanks for the lovely evening last night. I'm not really looking for anything at all. Good luck. Well, of course, Tom. What right do you have to think that you actually met someone that you're excited about, who's also excited about meeting you and moving things forward? What right do you have to actually think that that's what was happening? Even though all the indication was there, what right do you have to believe, Tom Birkenmeyer, that you're excited about somebody you just met who's also equally as excited as you are and wants to move things forward? It was just one of those moments, because it's sort of, to some extent, a pattern. So I didn't try to change her mind, didn't text her back and say, oh, how come? These long-winded whatever that a lot of people do. No, it's nothing like that. I just put it aside and that was it. She got back with me more later that day through Messenger and explained to me that she has this history of men treating her poorly, the men that she would date, this pattern of men who would abuse her in certain ways. And she said she was probably going to continue dating bad men who treat her badly and abuse her in various ways. And then she went on to say, however, I do want to break this pattern. I need to do some healing. Okay, so at that point, I just say, good luck. There was more to it said than that, but that was the gist of it. And I didn't send big, long messages, or I didn't see it as an opportunity to try to get back in with her, nothing like that. It's pretty much, good luck, wish you the best, and then just put it away, cut the cord, no interest, none. Still extremely disappointed and feeling a bit stung by the universe, by circumstances, not even really by her, but just by the universe and circumstances. I felt a bit stung. So I carried that with me for a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I was like, wow, you got to be kidding me. But it all made sense when she came back later, because it wasn't just in a vacuum that she decided. She went from this place of, wow, I'm having a great time with this guy, to, I'm just not really looking for anything, blah, blah. No, there was something more to it, which she explained later in the day. A history of guys treating her like crap. And I, unfortunately, have a pattern of attracting women with a history of men treating them like crap. So when she sent me those messages explaining herself, I was like, yeah, okay, now it makes sense. So the pattern continues. Jesus Christ. The pattern continues. It's a horrible, nasty pattern I have of these girls will go on these amazing dates, wonderful time together. There's no doubt, like, nobody's faking it. And when the girl goes back home, she has a chance to process and digest what just happened and the great time that she had. She freaks out about it. And then she runs back to what is familiar, because the priority for these girls is what's familiar. And unfortunately, what's familiar is abuse, toxicities, unhealthy relationships, guys that treat them like crap. They always go back to them. So I became consciously aware, probably a little over a year ago, but especially now at this point, just consciously aware. I need to attract girls who are healthy enough to want to find men who are also healthy to be very attractive. Men who have standards, and men who have a strong sense of self-worth, to find those kinds of things attractive and to want to be with that. And I'm even open to attracting a woman who has a history of unhealthy relationships, as long as she can grow and wants to break that pattern. Truly, we can work on that together. Why not? So this is coming right off the heels, this experience 1 year ago today, where I wake up to that text message like, oh, yeah, of course. Yep. Makes sense now. I just recently got off 2 other experiences with love interests that went awry. And all 3 of these were actually kind of serious love interests. So another one, real briefly, there was the first girl. I'll call her Sally. So Sally, we met just out and about doing things, hit it off so well, got her phone number, had a great conversation, and then we continued getting to know each other throughout that day. Actually, this one, we met in the morning somewhere. I don't even remember where. But we just decided, hey, you doing anything later today? No, not really. I just got to take care of this errand and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, would you like a ride? And so, because she didn't have a car, I found this out in conversation. So I take her to whatever it is that she wanted to do to get done with that day. And then she was free. It's like, okay, cool. And we'll hang out after that. So we spent all day together. We did this, we did that. We went to this place, went to that place. We even went out dancing later that night and just walked around, did cool, amazing stuff. Lots of venue changes, scenery changes. And the whole time we were laughing, stimulating conversation. Everything just came effortlessly. Everything was cool. And there was no confusion like with the other one I told you about. Like, there was no wondering on the other side, like, is this person into me? Don't want to come on too strong. No, we were totally unreserved into each other. It's like, wow, this is amazing. And it just happened so sporadically and spontaneously. And at the end of the night, we said our goodbyes for now. Can't wait to see you again. But I got this cruise coming up that I actually leave for like the following day, but I'll be back in 8 days. And then we got to recontinue this. And she's like, yeah. And so when I was on the cruise, I got the Wi-Fi package, which I would have gotten anyway. But because I had the Wi-Fi package, we were able to keep in touch on a daily basis. She was texting me just as much as I was texting her, and vice versa, sharing my trip with her. She's sharing with me what she's been up to. And the whole time we're making plans of all these really great things that we got to do when I get back home. And she's throwing out more ideas at what we're going to do than I am. I'm like, wow, this girl is really invested. This is great. And I'm really excited about this girl. She's excited about me, and she's investing in matching efforts and probably exceeding me in the effort category. I don't know. So then I finally get back home. It's like, all right, I'm home. Let's go. Let's do this. And she's like, oh, I suddenly got hit with this. I'm busy with that. And I got, okay, well then pick a day that works for you. And she's like, yeah, I'll let you know. And she never did, and ghosted me. That was the weirdest freaking thing. After a few days went by, a few more days went by, I'm like, I can't believe this. She was so invested. It's not like a case of I was putting forth all the energy and eventually she disappeared. But no, this was a case of we were both just like, and she was coming up with more ideas of all the great things we got to do than I was. And suddenly she ghosts me. She comes up with excuses first, and then she ghosts me. To this day, for all I know, she got hit by a train. And that's why I haven't heard from her. I have no idea. But that was a little over a year ago now. And so with this one, I look back and I reflect on some of the conversations we had that day. Some of it we did touch a little bit on our dating past, and I do remember her telling me. And she had a great sense of humor about it. It wasn't like, oh, woe is me. But she told me that, these men that she's been dating, they are quite needy financially. Apparently she's had her resources drained from her on multiple occasions. And I think she even told me that she co-signed some stuff for loans, and now her credit has gone to crap and she's financially drained. And these men, like, they're looking for someone to take care of them because they can't take care of themselves. And then now she comes across me, complete polar opposite. I mean, I'm not even middle ground here. Like, most men at least have a job and can take care of themselves that way. But me, no, I'm the opposite end of the spectrum from the guys of her past. I'm so self-sufficient. I'm financially free. The rest of my life, I don't even think I'll ever need to get a job ever again. I take care of myself. I work out every day. I'm really fit. I cook. I love cooking. I focus on nutritionally sound, tasty meals. I can do all kinds of things. I play a guitar really, really well. I'm ambitious. I live with purpose. Intention. I take personal growth and development very seriously. So I'm the polar opposite end of actually just about everybody, because almost everyone needs a job, and I don't, because I did really well for myself. I just got my ass to work many years ago. I accomplished this, so it's nothing new, but I did really well for myself. And so I'm completely the opposite. So this one I was not able to verify, but I'm taking a pretty good educated guess that after she went home from our amazing spontaneous day all day, she had a chance to process it, freaked out about it. Well, I guess that would have been during the course of my cruise, but it didn't get real until I was coming back home, I'm guessing. So I was away for 8 days, and the whole time she was still really excited, throwing out all these ideas of things we got to do, which we ultimately never did, because I never saw her again, just that one day. And then as soon as I got home, I'm guessing things got real for her, and she freaked out, and probably back to the same guys that drained her resources financially, and I haven't heard from her since then, and that was over a year ago, so I'm not expecting to hear from her ever again. And if I did, I really don't see me giving her another chance, because no matter what the reason was, there's no excuse for ghosting and disappearing for this amount of time, but I'll probably never hear from her again anyway. It's just a really bizarre story. And that one, of all the stories in the past couple of years, that one actually stung the most. In fact, I still, to some small degree, carry that with me a little bit. I'm not proud to say that, but, I'm a real human being, and I'm not perfect. That one, it doesn't sting nearly as much as it did, because for a couple months, I would say I carried that around quite heavily. Like the mystery of not knowing what the heck happened to this girl. How can she be so invested into us and disappear like that? As soon as I got back from my cruise, I was like going over everything in my head. How could that possibly happen? And the way that I felt in her presence for a day, like she felt in my presence for that day, we were both just so in sync energetically, and no holds barred, unreserved. It was amazing. And so to have that feeling, and to have that feeling taken away from you by the girl that gave you that feeling, that's a tough one to process. So I'm still, to a very small degree, I still carry that with me a little bit. Okay. So, and then the third one. This one also happened before the New Year's Day thing. So shortly after this other girl I just told you about, Sally, we'll call this one Susie. So, Susie, I also met old school, just out and about doing my thing. Amazing conversation. We didn't spend all day together like the other one. It was I don't know, half hour or an hour or so or something like that. But we both had places we had to be, so it was just no time to like turn it into a date or whatever. But for that half hour or whatever it was, man, we had the most amazing conversation, laughing, and we traded phone numbers, which was very easy and felt very natural to do. There was really no guesswork if the other person was interested. It was just amazing. And then we kept in touch over the phone, over message or text messages mostly, a little bit of phone calling, and the conversations they were stellar. They were amazing. So I'm trying to set up a date with her, which she was very excited about. And we decided to do something over Christmas, since neither of us had Christmas plans and neither of us had families here or anything like that. But she did have a couple of kids. And then, so we had this wonderful date all planned out. And she was just as involved in the planning as I was. So again, a girl that's very much invested in this effort, you name it. And I'm like, this is so cool. Someone I'm excited to be with, excited to get to know and invest in, and she's investing too. This is great. So everything's reciprocal at this point. And then finally, it was just the day before our big date, like less than 24 hours. It was like the evening of the day before our big date. She's last minute, her kids just came into town, so she's going to spend Christmas Eve with them. So I text her back and I support it because it's her kids. But I mean, in my brain, I don't really know what to do with it at that point. Chime in. What would you do? On one hand, I'm like, yeah, but last minute. Come on, man, last minute. And you know that my family just recently passed away, my mom and my dad. And it's Christmas, and we just made all these big plans, and you know all this, and last minute, really? Come on. And I didn't voice that to her. Maybe I should have. I don't know. But the other part of me is obviously it's her kids. I don't want to take her away from her kids. But, I mean, come on, man. So I didn't really know what to do with that. So I just defaulted to playing it safe, I guess. I'm like, all right, hey, I'm bummed out, not going to lie. But yeah, spend your time with your kids. We will do a rain check. Oh, for sure. I can't wait to see you, Tom. Rain check for sure. So she went overboard in making sure that I knew she was excited to see me. Like, she didn't have to say all this extra stuff that she said. She's like, yeah, we're going to definitely do this date. It's going to be great. I'm like, all right, cool. So as time goes on, excuses. I'm like, oh boy, here's the pattern. Just making excuses. Well, then why is she's not just saying yes to rescheduling a date, but she's saying yes and adding a bunch of lib, telling me how excited she is and all these ideas that she has. Why would she do that if she's going to constantly come up with excuses and reasons for canceling and postponing and being so busy suddenly? It's like, that makes no sense. So then eventually at some point, I just ask her to, hey, look, level with me. If you're not into it, it's okay. I'm not going to try to make you feel bad for changing your mind. But I don't want to be strung along when there's constantly excuses coming up and reasons why you're so busy when you were so invested before. And she said, well, Tom, to be honest, things are tight financially. And I decided I'm going to be a sugar baby. I didn't know what that was, a sugar baby. I'm like, what does that mean? So then she explained to tell me basically a glorified prostitute. She's basically finding rich men to just shower her with cash in exchange for sex. And so at that point, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, before I even respond, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Well, this is a new one. This has never happened to me before. Obviously, I don't want to see this woman anymore. What the fuck? So I just support her. I'm not going to, I mean, I believe in the freedom of sex workers, really. I don't agree with the laws in this country that prohibit that. It doesn't mean that I want to date one, but this person, that's what she wanted to do. I'm not even necessarily sure I believe her. She could have been lying, just making something up to make it easier. I really don't know, but that was such a weird experience, man. And as I reflect on it, I do remember her, again, telling me some problems she had with other men in the past, how they would treat her badly, like they typically do. And suddenly she's having this really fun back and forth with a new guy, and there hasn't been any red flags and no repeating patterns that show up of past men. I haven't been able to verify with this one, but I'm just guessing she just wasn't in a place where she was healthy enough to deal with a healthy man and the prospect of a healthy relationship. So, back to the drawing board. But that's where I was 1 year ago today, January 1st, in that headspace of, gee, girl I just met last night, everything was great. We were just so energetically connected, no doubt whatsoever. And suddenly I get that message I wake up to, and I'm like, la-ti-da, this is great, can't wait to get to know her more. Oh, you're not looking for anything at all. Good luck. Okay, of course. What right do you have to think, Tom? Just because she showed interest and invested heavily gives you the right to think that it's going to continue and escalate, just like the past two examples with Sally and Susie. So waking up with that was really something a year ago, last year. And so this year, today, I woke up with, I'm just flowing, redirecting energy. It's a much healthier place to be. It's less stress, because I don't really have any stress in my life, except if I think about some of the women who have gone awry as far as dating prospects goes. So to be able to flow and redirect and not hold expectation, it does create a lot more peace, more space to enjoy life more. So that's my story for the day, my first video story of the year, taking place on the 1st of the year, 2024. And feel free to drop comments down there. Some people don't understand why I share stuff like this, but I do it for a few different reasons. One, I love the feedback I get from people. Sometimes it helps me hone in on my own beliefs, refine my own philosophies. And also, hey, if there's a girl out there that sees this that's like, I want to get to know that guy more. Obviously, that would be pretty cool too. However I meet the right person, ultimately I want to find a healthy long-term relationship where we are both excited to be with each other and both putting in the investment and the energy Just like with all three of these examples, there was investment, energy, reciprocation. There's nothing worse than putting your energy into a source that does not reciprocate, where you you put out these nets of communication hoping that they respond with some kind of enthusiasm. There's nothing worse than that. In fact, whenever that happens, I bail out pretty quickly. It's like I'll give it a couple chances, and if there's nothing there, I just move on, and that's fine. Redirection. But when somebody reciprocates, and maybe they're even putting more into it than you are, and you feel like you're putting a lot into it, it's like, wow, this is great. And then they ghost, they fall off, they suddenly just come up with excuses and maybe lies, and they disappear, and they go back to what was familiar and toxic. That's a much different thing. It can be harder to deal with. Those are the ones that really sting because they just make no freaking sense whatsoever. But ultimately, yeah, I'd like to find a woman who's healthy enough to be attracted to a man with standards, who has a sense of self-worth, who can take care of himself, and be drawn to just the whole idea and the concept of a healthy, long-term relationship that two people are just excited to be in with each other, who feel really good in each other's presence, and also long for them when they're not in each other's presence, to have that to look forward to as we live our separate lives, but then come together to also live our lives. All that kind of stuff, all the hopeless romanticism stuff. That's me. So those are my reasons for sharing content like this. One, I love the feedback I get from people because it helps me hone in on my own ideas and philosophies. And two, you never know. Miss Future Right Woman could come across us and be like, I'm going to reach out to Tom Berkemeier and be like, hey, I want to get to know you. Tell me more about you. Can you play that guitar for real? Cook me something tasty and nutritious. And I'd be like, yeah, I know a thing or two about that. Let's go dancing. Yeah. Actually, that's not even a requirement. I love dancing, but definitely not a requirement in a significant other to be spoken for by the right woman. All right. 22 minutes in. This video is ridiculous. If you made it to the end, let me know. I'll be like, wow, I'm tickled. Most of you will probably go a minute, maybe 2, maybe 15 seconds. I really don't know. So if you made it, let me know. Bye for now. More videos of all kinds coming soon. Music videos, impromptu guitar videos, fitness videos, healthy, clean eating, nutritious, plant-based meal videos, dancing videos for sure. Probably coming pretty soon with those. More dance videos. Got a lot of interest. Bye for now.